Now, as we start our third round, the body might be feeling the effects of the other two rounds, and so it's quite possible that we are a bit fatigued in this round. There are different ways of working out. There's just using the same weight through all the rounds, same repetition, and that's perfectly fine. There's what's known as progressive resistance training. We're gradually increasing the intensity of the action, even though our body is fatiguing. In a home workout, especially when we have limited equipment, it's perfectly okay to do the everything's the same each round, and that works rather well. But, so in this case, we're going to be doing the lat row again with the same weight that we had before, using nice and slow actions. And it's okay, especially in round 3, if you're reaching a point of strong fatigue, maybe you're not going to do all 10 rounds, or maybe you're going to do a few at one weight and then drop down to a lesser intensity. So we're going to again have knee and hand on the chair. We're going to start out with the arm in a stretch position, and then we're going to pull slowly up, elbow toward the spine, round the rib cage as we go, and back down again. Exhaling as you're making the effort, and then concentrating. Often when we're tired, we just sort of crank it out in a fast fashion to keep the movement smooth and slow. Try not to be distracted. Let your body do the work and focus on the work you're doing. Last one. And that's great. All right. Ready for the next exercise. Our next exercise is the third round of the hamstrings, the back of the leg area, and we've already done a couple of different things. We worked out with the bar behind us in a good morning action, and that's a really great one for activating the hamstring. We were face down, and we used the roll of mat behind our legs to create a good strong contraction with the bend of the knee. This time we're going to be on our back, and we're going to activate the hamstring again. And in this exercise, you don't need any particular prop, although you can use something like these shallow blocks, or perhaps if you don't have blocks, a book. But I'll show you the exercise and the way that we meter out the action if we have no prop whatsoever. The hamstring is a nice exercise, or a nice target muscle to work, because there's several different at-home exercises that work very well for it. Now in this action, we're going to be using the weight of our body to create the action. And we're going to be lifting our hips upward, and that's going to be a nice weight for the hamstring. But in order to tell the body which muscle structure we want to work, we're going to be creating a toe pointing, toe pushing into the floor. You don't have to lift the heel up, but you want to keep the weight on the ball, the front part of the foot. Now we're going to be coming onto the back, and we'll regulate the amount of intensity with the closeness of the legs. So if I want to feel less action, I put my feet relatively close. If I want to feel more action, I take my legs out. But I don't completely straighten the leg, because I've got to have a bend in that knee in order to make this hamstring work the best. So somewhere close to further away. Now pushing down on the ball of the foot, keep your back neutral, don't flatten it, and work to lift up your hips and then to bring them back down again. Now your calf muscle is going to be in play as well, and that's not a bad workout for it. So here it is again with the pushing down and lifting up the hips and then coming back down again. And that's really good action. But if you were able to use a little bit of a higher lift, I'll put these right here. As I said, we would want two blocks that would be the same height for this. So if you're going to use books, you've got to make sure they're the same height of book. And we're going to be placing not the full foot on there, but just the front part of the foot on there, leaving the heel free of that block. And again, coming onto the back, but making sure there's a slight curve in the low back area, that the back is essentially neutral. We push down and we come upward, but now we're lifting up a little higher, and there's a stronger action in the back leg. We come back down again, keep the core nicely engaged, breathing deeply. Now, if you're thinking, oh boy, this is baby steps, I really need to do something that's a little harder than that, we'll get the blocks out of the way just for the sake of not losing balance. And instead of having both of our feet down, we're going to do the lift with only one leg. So we have the other leg hovering, we're going to push down and come upward. And so that's a greater amount of intensity on that one side. And you could do this with just the one leg all through it, or you could switch back and forth to the other leg as you come up and down. So the method, you could have the feet close and coming upward. You could have the feet further away and coming upward. You can have the feet on the block and coming upward, and you can also do it as a one leg active lift, and there we go. Nice action for the hamstring with its partner, the calf muscle. And so that's a good one, and we're now ready for our next exercise. Well, the tricep muscle is our next action, and we've done a couple of different things. We did the tricep kickback action, and we did floor dips, and now we're going to be creating an action using our nice weight here. This could be any weight. You could have more than one thing in your hand at a time for this action. Make sure, I just filled a little drip of water with this one, make sure the top's on really tight, especially if there's anything in there that you wouldn't want dripping on you. Now I'm going to be coming on to the floor with this one, although there's several different versions of this kind of an action. This one goes by the name of it's a modification of a French curl. We're going to be holding a gallon of water in our hand. We're going to be taking the arm up straight like so, and then we're going to be bending, and those elbows are going to stay still. We aim the bottle at the hairline, and then we come back up again. We don't want those arms to move around on us. And so we're just going slowly down and then back up straight again. And so part of this is the precision to make sure that the arms are not slipping forward or back as you're moving. They're staying stock still. So we got 2 more to go. And our last one. And that's good. Now with these exercises, as we're coming through them, we're going to find sometimes the muscles are going to feel a little quaky or shaky, especially if you've been away from your exercise for a little bit of time. And unwieldy actions. One of the nicer things about this is going to give a more of a real world experience, because this water in here is going to move a little differently than a standard weight. And so that's going to be a nice mix up for the body to create a more realistic action. All right, we're going to move into that next exercise now. Okay, we're ready to target that core, specifically the rectus abdominis, although we're getting a lot of assistance by the back extensors and other core muscles in order to stabilize as we're in the plank position with our actions. Now, in round 1, and again, don't think that you have to constantly step upward with this. You might, as you're getting fatigued, actually work backward a little bit. That sort of reverse pyramid action is really good for developing the muscles. All we have to do really is get that muscle nice and exhausted, and the muscle will grow stronger. So now we're going to be face down, and in our position, the first round, when we made sure those arms were shoulder distance wide, elbows right into the shoulders. We have our arms in that parallel train track. And for the first round, the first action, we pulled forward, we felt a little bit of a stretch, we pushed down on those knees, and we just made a crunch, and we didn't lift the pelvis very far. And then we come back down again. For the second round, we went a little further with it. We pulled forward, we pushed the knees down, we crunched, and we brought the back up. We still made the rounding in the back, but we held ourselves up a little bit, and then we came back down. Now for round number 3, I'm going to suggest a little bit of an action. And remember, you can try a little bit, you can go up and down the levels as you feel comfortable with it. So we pull forward, and I'm going to have my toes touching down in preparation. So we're going to create the crunch, and then we're going to straighten one leg, straighten the other leg, bring one leg down, bring the other leg down, bring the pelvis back down. And you find that rather satisfying, although for some, it's going to make it where your back is going to feel a little bit of discomfort if you're jamming the back. So you got to make sure that you're tucking under the tailbone. You're tucking the pubic bone down a little bit to prevent the back from jamming. So that one again, we pull forward and we make the crunch, we come up a little bit, and then one leg goes straight, the other leg goes straight, the leg goes down, down, and then the pelvis comes back down again. And you can continue with that action or revert back to the easier actions. Now, if we get up and we think, okay, there's a little bit more chance for you to do that, remember, pay attention to what your back feels. We pull forward, we go into the crunch, we come up a little bit, one leg straight, the other leg straight. If you're still comfortable in the upward position, step one leg out, bring it back in, step the other leg out, bring it back in, bring both knees back down, come all the way down. Feel free to rest whatever amount that you need in between each action so that your body's fresh and ready to go. We don't have to have this as an aerobics along with our weight training too. Remember, the intensity is going to be there. So you're starting to feel a little bit of action. The body's going to warm up and you want to do the action. Now, there are some efforts that we can create. The stepping outward one at a time is a really great thing to do to protect the back. When we create an action that's a faster movement, has a little bit of a plyometric, fast muscle action, we're at risk of feeling some negative engagement of the back muscle. Make sure that your back is totally calm, that you're not experiencing any back discomfort, because the next one could elicit that if your back is a little bit vulnerable to that. So for this next action, we pull forward and we come into the crunch. We straighten one leg, the other leg, and instead of stepping them out slowly, we pop, 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 pop. And then you can come back down and rest. Now you can do as many of those plank jacks, is what they're called, as you like. It's going to be quite aerobic in that action, so you get a nice high intensity interval with that one. Or instead of doing the hopping outward, you pull forward, you go into the crunch, you lift up, one leg, the other leg, and then back down again. So whichever method that you use, the activity that you want to do, you feel that nice activation. Your back should not be feeling negative. If, however, in the situation you felt a little bit of negative action in the back, one of the better things to do is to let your body go into a very gentle twist. Just rock the legs over to one side and then come up, rock the legs over to the other side. Or if the back is feeling particularly troubled by it, come onto your back, rock the knees a little bit from side to side until your back begins to calm down. And remember that if you did an exercise and you feel some immediate response, negativity in the body, do something comfortable for the body immediately, and then your body will be ready for you to go on. Because we've got to work at the level that's challenging for us, but is not overwhelming to our system. All right, great. Let's get ready for that next exercise. Our next exercise is squat, a nice classic exercise, and we really don't have to do any extras with it, but if you had some weight, and if you're used to using a weight or weight bar, and you don't have that set up in your home gym, you can use your weights. If you have two, you can hold one. Typically, you hold them at the shoulder line. This is a little bit bulking, so I wanted to show you, it's a nice weight to use, but how would we use a weight like this and create an action for ourselves? If you had another gallon, you could hold it at the side, coming into your squat with both of the weights held in the hand. Right now I just got one of these, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an action where I'm holding it right here in my center, and my feet are the width of this mat, which is wider than the hip distance. The weight is back, and I'm going to keep this close into my body as I come down into the squat and then back up again. And so it's pulling, it's an extra weight on my body, and my body can feel that. Remember, don't let the weight travel toward the toes. Keep it back to the heels as you come down and back up again. And then we'll do one more of these. Keep that weight at the heels. And remember, the distance that you go down is really up to you. Just showing you, if I have two weights, I just have these light guys here. If we had the two weights, we could do the squat like this. We could have the weights beside us doing the squat like so as well. All right, excellent job, and we're ready for another exercise. So now we're gonna work our deltoid again. We've been working that anterior piece, we did the medial piece, and now we're gonna get into the posterior line. And the thing about the posterior deltoid is it's very helpful for our external rotator muscles, so the part of the rotator cuff that turns the arm outward. But it's a muscle that is relatively weak in most of us because it has some big friends that create the action and replace the need for that muscle. So we're going to have to get its friends out of the way in order to get a good workout for the posterior deltoid. We're going to use a chair to sit in. So we sit in the chair, and I'll show you it from two different views as we go into it. We're going to use small weights. So these are those little 1-pounders, and we're going to find that very sufficient weight. In fact, you may not want to use a weight at all. In this position, you let yourself come forward, and so your arms are just hanging out there. My knees a little bit narrower, hanging out there. And what you're going to do is you're going to let your body tuck that chin down. You're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together so now the rhomboids between the shoulder blade muscles are out of the way. And then you reach your arms steadily outward. And then you let the arms come down, and then you relax for a moment. Let me show you from a side view. So we're in position. We just got to get the body weight forward so the arms can hang free. So we're down like so. We're going to tuck that chin to protect the neck, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then reach those arms outward. And that's going to target our posterior delt. And then we let the arms come down, and then we relax, and you can lift the chin if your neck is uncomfortable. You can continue on as well. So the chin tuck, we squeeze the shoulder blades, we get that muscle out of the way, and then we use this outer edge. So the arms don't come up, they don't have to lift up very high. In fact, lifting them up higher is not going to make the deltoid work any harder, it's going to get other muscles to work. So again, tuck that chin, squeeze together the shoulder blades, let the arms come out and down, and relax. It's best to start it over each time. Tuck, shoulder blades squeeze that way, that we're fresh and new, so we're not substituting one muscle for another. And 2 more. And there we go. All right, good. Now we worked that posterior deltoid. All right, so now we have worked 3 rounds of our exercise, and we want to do a little bit of a warm down activity. All right, so something that's comfortable for the body. We're going to take the pole, we can put it around our back if you have a pole, and just do a little bit of a twist back and forth just to release some tension out of the back and shoulders. If that's uncomfortable for the shoulders, you can hold the bar like so, just a little bit of a twist back and forth, relieve some tension from the upper body. And then for the complete warm down, we're going to come onto the floor, do a couple of things that release tension out of our body. So we'll come onto our back, work those shoulders away from the head toward the hips, and we're going to bring the knee into the body, comfortably tug it in. We'll do that on the other side, nice comfortable pull inward. And then we'll take both legs in, gentle pull in. Now we work the hamstring, but it'd be a great idea to stretch it. So we're going to put our hands in the very back of the leg and one leg into the stretch. Very gentle, the leg's not allowed to pull away from the chest. The other side into the stretch, the ankle, the knee, the hip line up. Both legs at the same time. And then that's good. We'll have the hand to the knee, stretch the other leg out straight, pushing down the back of the knee to help open the front of our hip. And then we just rock the knee from side to side a little bit for release. And if you're comfortable with it, take the arms out and bring the leg softly across, gently stretching. The bend of the knee will help you control that stretch. Back to center. We'll change the side, pull in, straighten, push the back of the knee down, rock gently from side to side, or if comfortable, arms out to the side, leg brought across, and adjust the bend of the knee. Keep your breathing deep, coming back to center. A good twist also is the feet wide, rocking gently to one side, allowing the hip to lift up. This will open up the front of the thigh, and we'll go the other way. Sometimes it's the tightness of one muscle. The tightness of the thigh prevents us from developing the back of the leg. So if a muscle's too tight, it can actually interfere in our strengthening. And of course, if a muscle's too weak, it allows other muscles to become too tight. And that's good. We'll just stretch our legs out straight, and we'll take the upper body, we'll just take the arms and bring them comfortably alongside the head. The arms may or may not reach the floor. You could spread out a little wider instead of having them directly in front, but we want to create a nice elongation from the pelvis up through the structure of the arm. Breathing deeply. Nice deep inhales and exhales. So a good warm down is essential to preparing the muscles, and then we will come out of that, rolling over to the side. Try not to sit straight upward. It just puts strain in the back of the neck. It doesn't do any essential muscle building for you. Now remember, your follow through is very important as well. Your follow through are the things that come after the class. You've done a great workout, and now your body has certain needs that are not going to be completely satisfied until it's had a couple of sleep cycles. So we don't want to follow an intense exercise back to back with another intense exercise. We did the warm down, but we want to have tomorrow to be a day that is a less intense exercise day. So no back-to-back intense exercises where we increase the risk of injury produced by exercise itself. And immediately following the class, after we've done the warm down, we want to be thinking about what kind of protein we're going to give our body. How do we acquire protein within the hour? Because that's going to stimulate the synthesis of protein within our body. So we're going to teach our body to build muscle for us by giving it the components that it needs. So we're going to eat that 30 grams of protein. That's considered one of the best amounts for each individual, so that we stimulate the most protein synthesis. And 30 grams of protein is not a difficult thing to acquire. It's about 3 to 4 ounces of chicken. It could be 4 to 5 ounces of red meats like beef. It could be 6 ounces of fish, or 6 ounces of fattier meats like sausage. And if you're a vegetarian, then cottage cheese, a cup of cottage cheese is going to be your 30 grams of protein. And so you can mix and match things. An egg is an exceptionally good form of protein, but one egg is only 6 grams of protein. So you're going to have to eat, 5 eggs, and most people don't want to do that. But you can combine. A cup of milk is 8 grams, and an ounce of cheese is somewhere between 5 to 9 grams of protein as well. So if you have 3 eggs, a cup of milk, and a couple of ounces of that cheese cooked into those eggs, then you've got that 30 grams of protein. And so there's a lot of apps out there that will tell you what protein is in food. Just make sure within the hour you're getting that, and keep your protein level sufficient. It's considered that 3 meals of 30 grams of protein is a great amount for those who are trying to build their strength. Be sure to sleep your 7 to 10 hours. That's also essential for reducing inflammation, as well as allowing the body to build the proteins that it uses for both our muscles and our immune cells. So we're going to stay healthy with that action as well. Excellent work. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know the information at the end of this video. Bye for now, and I'll see you again next workout.